Okay, continuing on with the Beatles. Next is Sgt Pepper. This is I believe, a original UK mono, and so this one is here, which is nice. This has all of the collectibles in it as well, with the like the beards and the medallions and all that, and so that is all in here as well. This is a later. This next one here is a later 70s Apple pressing and stereo. And so this one's okay. Again, the Beatles never intended were made, like George Martin, the legendary Beatles producer, has famously said, like, you haven't heard Sgt. Pepper until you've heard it in mono. So again, this is cool to have. It was free. It was given to me. But again, I've really have not gone back to listen to that one. And then my third copy of it is the recent 50th anniversary edition. This was the stereo remix by Giles Martin. This is the best version for me, at least. I love how it sounds, and then it comes with cool bonus features as well. This is the deluxe edition with like some outtakes and stuff. But yeah, Sgt. Pepper 50th anniversary edition. Oh my gosh, sounds amazing. Definitely check out this version. This is on Spotify, as well as the Revolver version. So definitely get this one. Next up is oh, I love this record so much. I actually think I like it more than Pepper. Is that sacrilegious? I might actually say that. Yeah, Magical Mystery Tour. This is actually the only U.S. version of the album that or a U.S. album that Capitol did that was actually brought into the canon of the Beatles. So this is actually part of the discography, and the first half of the record are songs that were in the film of the same name. It's a very weird, probably my least favorite Beatles film in here. And then the second half are a bunch of songs, a lot of singles. Like, this is what really makes it even better. So you get like Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane. So good. This is a original Capitol mono, and it does come with a booklet inside as well. So the Beatles' self-titled album, or what's commonly referred to as the White Album, I have 3 copies. Well, yeah. This is the Beatles' only double album. I have 3 copies of it. This first one is a first press US version with the Beatles embossed into the cover, and then it has its serial number. And in case you're curious, it is 2663184. These early versions have numbers, and so it's always cool because each one's unique. And then the Beatles is embossed in the cover. And the White Album is really cool. I don't think this was intended, but it's cool to see, like, because it's all white, you get to see, like, oh, each one's different because, like, oh, this one has a scarf here, this one has ringwear here. It's kind of cool to see the history of it. This is a U.S. stereo, by the way. This next one is a later UK 70s version on the Apple label. And so this one's good. They're all pretty much the same. And then this one is a late 70s Purple Capitol in the US. I do not, and I want to get it, the Giles Martin 2018 mix. No, yeah, 2018 mix of this is really good, and so I want to get that on vinyl too. But right now I have those 3 copies. Then probably my least favorite Beatles album, Yellow Submarine. This is a UK first press, I believe, on the Apple label, and this one's good. The first half is Beatles music. It is well, there's 6 songs on the first side. Track 1 and track 6 are songs that were on Magical Mystery Tour or Revolver. The other 4 are okay. They're not bad. I like It's All Too Much. I like Only a Northern Song. But the main reason you get this is for Hey Bulldog. That is one of the best Beatles rockers ever. It is so good. Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters did an excellent cover of that. But yeah, Yellow Submarine. Then this one is probably my favorite Beatles album as of today, December of 2023. and that is Abbey Road. And I too have 3 copies of Abbey Road. I have the first press UK here, and so this one is in really really good shape. The other one that I have, or the second one, is the 2012 version of which is basically the 2009 digital remasters put onto the vinyls. Pretty much, and I think most people who are fans, who are into like the sound quality and stuff, will might agree with me. The 2012 remasters of on vinyl of the Beatles albums are terrible. I absolutely hate the sound of it. So do not get the 2012 remasters. What you should get is, again, I'm going to say it for a lot of them, the Giles Martin 2019 mix. This is the 2019 mix on Apple. Excellent, excellent, excellent. This is the way to go about listening to Abbey Road, if you ask me. I absolutely adore this mix. And then what I wish I had more copies of. The copy that I have is okay. It's a later 70s pressing of Let It Be, so it doesn't have the gatefold. It's on Apple. This one's good. I think, again, the Giles Martin 2021 mix is the best way to go about it. Again, avoid the 2012. Excuse me. First presses are good. US and or UK. This is a UK. Like I said. So this one's good. I do want to get the 2021 mix. I wouldn't mind having a first press, but I mainly want the gatefold, because the gatefolds, I like gatefolds, they're cool. This one doesn't have it. Again, it's cool to have just so I can plop it on the turntable, but this is not going to be my only copy of the album. I will be getting more. One of the newer additions to my collection is this. This is the Beatles' latest single, Now and Then, that they put on 12-inch vinyl. This is on the Apple label. And then they did a 2023 mix of Love Me Do, which they put on Parlophone, which is kind of cool. I really like how they did this. And then there's I like how they did the basically like their final single, and then on the B side is their very very first single. So this is a great song. I mean, get this on Spotify or Apple or whatever and check it out. It's really good. It's definitely not going to be my favorite Beatles song ever, but it is really good. I've quite thoroughly enjoyed this. I think it's still like my top song on Spotify. I've listened to it a lot. This is my second copy of this. I have another one in the Beatles Blue Box collection. This is the Beatles Rarities. This is from the UK, so it has a lot of other like singles or some hard to find things, hence the name. Here's the other side of it. This is like I said, a UK version. This one has some singles on it, like really ones I like. Rain is on here, which I like. You Know My Name, Look Up the Number, which is a very funny Beatles song, is on here. So that one's really fun, and I enjoy listening to it. So this one's okay. There's some other good Beatles compilations. This one I like. This one is the Beatles before Ringo Starr joined the band. This is them with Pete Best. This is the Decca tapes. This is what they auditioned. They auditioned for Decca, and basically they, with a lot of the stuff that they were doing at the time, and they didn't get it because Decca didn't want to sign the Beatles, and then they eventually went to EMI, Parlophone, and here we are. So this is fun. It's hard to go back to this because this is even pre Please Please Me. So, but it's cool if you want to get the Beatles when they're very raw, just starting out. Like they haven't even adapted the whole suits thing yet. They're still rocking the leather. So it's a cool piece. You know, it's a cool piece to go back and check out, to see them in their early years in the band. This is right after, or shortly after, their bassist Stuart Sutcliffe left the band, and Paul McCartney took over on bass. So again, it's a cool piece to go back to. It's hard for me to want to revisit, but it is a cool piece of history. And I guess while I have you, I guess I'll show you my solo Beatles albums, the stuff that they did after the Beatles. I guess we'll go in order of the whole John, Paul, George, and Ringo thing. Starting with John Lennon, this is his first one here, Plastic Ono Band. This one's good. John's first two records are absolutely great. This one, though, the problem with this one is it's very much a downer because it's kind of him at his lowest point or one of his lowest points, and so you kind of have to be in a mood, or at least I feel like I have to be in a mood to appreciate it as much as possible. It's a very good but very personal album, and so definitely go listen to this if you just feel down. It's a good down album. The next one's probably his most well known, Imagine. Uh, this one has obviously the title track. It has Jealous Guy, which I love. Um, um, Crippled Inside is kind of fun. It's so hard. Um, I think Give Me Some Truth is on here. His diss track to Paul McCartney, How Do You Sleep, is on here. Let's see. Yeah, so this is on Apple. So yeah, album there. Bibbidi bibbidi boop. Next one here is Mind Games. This is on Capitol. It's the mintish, greenish Capitol label here. This one's pretty good. I like this one. This is a newer edition I got. I always wanted it. I haven't been able to find it at a good price. Finally did. This is his Live in New York City album, where he played at Madison Square Garden. A lot of good stuff. I think it's actually only everything up till sometime in New York City, and then he also does a cover of the Beatles Come Together in it, which is nice. I always love this album. Here's his rock and roll music. This is all covers of like 50s rock and roll stuff. So like Peggy Sue, Buddy Holly's on here, Bebop Balula, Stand By Me, all that kind of stuff. It's a fun record. And then sadly, John's last official album before he passed. This is Double Fantasy. I Love Woman. I think my favorite track on it is Watching the Wheels. Just like starting over is kind of sad, but yeah, Double Fantasy wasn't really popular when it first came out, but after Lennon passed, it shot to the stardom. So that's all of John that I have. And honestly, John didn't put out a lot of stuff just because he did, for like the first 5 years, he put out records, and then he took 5 years off. And then in 1980, he put out Double Fantasy, and then tragically, he was taken. And so we don't have as much from John as I would have liked. Now, the other three, there's a little bit more. The bulk of who I have, which is weird because I've always said, oh, John's my favorite Beatle. I feel like maybe Paul is creeping into that. We'll see. Because, yeah, I didn't realize I had this many Paul McCartney solo records. But anyways, here we go. Here's Paul's first one, McCartney. This is on Apple. I believe this is... I don't think this is a first print, but it's very good. This has Maybe I'm Amazed on it, which I really like. It's a good one. Paul did everything on this. He played every instrument himself, wrote everything. Pretty much very self-produced. It feels very indie, more so. But what's even more indie than that one is the second one, which is Ram, which people hated when it first came out. Now, people will say it's the best Paul album. It's definitely one of my favorites. I'd say it's my top 5, easily. But I don't know. Would I say it's Paul's best? I don't know, but it is really good. It is very good. So Ram, definitely very indie pop, indie rock, one of the first. So I really like it for that reason. Plus the content's good. Then here's some Wings stuff. When he created Wings, here is Red Rose Speedway. Definitely a good record. I like that one. This is my favorite Wings record, and this might be my favorite Paul album. I don't know. Even more than Ram. Band on the Run. Classic Wings album. Probably my, like I said, as of now, let's go ahead and say, as of now, this is my favorite McCartney solo. This is, I freaking love Band on the Run. Here's Wings at the Speed of Sound. Another one on here. A London Town, probably my one of my least favorite Wings records. This one has a song that he wrote for Michael Jackson on his Off the Wall album that Paul did for him. It was Girlfriend. And you can definitely tell it was written for MJ because Paul just can't hit those high notes. It just listen to it on here and then go listen to Michael Jackson's version of Off the Wall. MJ did it a lot better, but you know, it's a good record. I mean, it's not bad, but it's definitely not great either. Uh, Here's the last Wings album, Back to the Egg, which I really like. I love the kind of the orchestral, they call it the rockestra theme. It's a very, I love it. It's a very out of, no pun intended, very out of this world kind of sounding album. Here's Paul's first solo album after Wings, appropriately named McCartney 2. This is coming up on it. Waterfall's on it. I do like Dark Room. That's another one I really like. So this was Paul's 1980 record. Tug of War, which is even better than McCartney 2, and is definitely one that I think I'm glad it's kind of been getting some more love. Here Today, his tribute to John Lennon's on here. He has one with Stevie Wonder on here. What's That You're Doing? I really, really like that track. Yeah, Tug of War, really good record. Pipes of Peace. This is one I grew up with. I love this one. This one has Say, Say, Say on it with Michael Jackson. And so I've always enjoyed that one. But in retrospect, I'm like, not one of Paul's best, but it's okay. And the last Paul album that I have on vinyl, which I really want to get more, McCartney 3 and Egypt Station, I really, really liked. But it's new. And this was my first Paul McCartney solo vinyl, and I really, really dug this. I got to see him tour this actually, so I really, really liked, New. This was one of Paul's best in a long time. His 2000s work is, aside from Chaos and Creation in the Backyard, a lot of it I didn't really care for. This was a really nice return to form for Paul, so I really, really liked that. George and Ringo, I don't have as much as I'd like. Actually, I only have two for each of them. The first one is George Harrison, Somewhere in England, which is this is a nice one. I like All Those Years Ago. It's kind of kind of a whole recollection of the Beatles thing, but also a tribute to John because he had passed at this point. Teardrops, I like. It's a good record. I really, really, really like it. I wish I had more George, because my favorite George record is All Things Must Pass, and I don't have it, and I don't like it. And then this is an early takes. This was a tie-in to the Martin Scorsese documentary, so it's kind of some stuff of George's from all throughout his solo career, and so it's a lot of demos, but it's really, really good. It's very raw, very stripped down, very acoustic-y, and so I like it. I like it a lot. But again, I want more George Harrison because George is great. I love his solo stuff, and it kills me I only have these two. And last but not least, Ringo, which I also only have two. This is probably the best Ringo album. This is his Ringo album. This one's on stereo. This one's kind of like a mini Beatles reunion, actually, on it, because Paul wrote 6 O'Clock. And then they play on it, like all of the Beatles play on it, and then they have Paul wrote 6 O'Clock, John Lennon wrote I'm the Greatest, and George Harrison did Sunshine, Life of Me. So it's kind of a cool semi-Beatles reunion on here. So it's a good record, and this also has 16 Photograph is on here. So it's kind of like a lot of Ringo's well-known solo stuff is on here. So it's a good album. And then lastly, this was one I don't really have a lot of memories of it, but this one is definitely, I don't know, I feel like it's Ringo's had a lot of after this one, and then kind of going forward for a while, Ringo had kind of some duds. I think he got a little bit better. I really like Liverpool 8, which I wish I had. But anyways, this is Ringo's Roto Reverer. It's kind of a weird title. But it kind of has some weird songs on here. Like, because Ringo would always, it's like his shtick. I get by with a little help from my friends. And, like, it's like a lot of the stuff he'd get would be like John Paul George, Elton John, Eric Clapton would write him stuff. So, like, this was the last one he got from John, Cooking in the Kitchen of Love. And it's, oof. Then George Harrison did It Still Love You. Here's Clapton on here. Did Paul write anything for him on here? It doesn't look like he did. Um, but yeah, it. You could tell that they were not giving Ringo their A material anymore. So it's definitely not my favorite Ringo album. But yeah, as of now, that is my record collection of the Beatles. Like I said, I definitely want to get more, particularly of some of their solo stuff and a few other things. But yeah, that is my current record collection of the Beatles. So hopefully you all enjoyed that. And for those of you that are here for Star Wars stuff, don't worry because that will be coming next. We'll see you then.